Hello, and welcome to the first day of class with Mr. Phil. Today we will be covering some standard first day things, such as classroom routine, general guidelines, as well as a little bit of a meet and greet for the both of us. Let's cover some of the classroom routines first. Class begins promptly at 6 p.m. and lasts until 9:15 p.m. And there is a 15-minute break at 7:30. Now, just so you know, you are expected to be in class for the entire class time. If you are late, even 1 minute, that does count as an absence. Once you have 4 absences, you will be dropped from the course. Yes, that can seem a little strict, especially when you take into consideration that life happens. However, it is not my decision. It is the decision, however, of the Illinois Community College Board. So it is state rules, and we must abide by them. Which is why every single day you will see an attendance sign-in sheet as soon as you walk into class. Be sure to sign that first thing every day. This is a good way to keep a track of your attendance just in case there's a mistake made later on. Okay, we have covered the daily routine. Let's move on to guidelines, both inside the classroom as well as out. Speaking a language other than your own, especially English, can be very, very difficult. It can be extra difficult and frustrating when you're doing it in front of many, many people. All the eyes looking at you, judging you, hoping that you remember the right word and say the right word. It can be very stressful, and people can make mistakes, which is why we make sure not to laugh at anybody or make anybody feel bad about trying. Remember, mistakes are okay in the classroom. Instead, what we want to do is we want to be sure to be encouraging and supportive. And that brings us to a very, very important aspect of our unique classroom. Right now, as we sit, we are in America. But we also have students from Mexico, Ukraine, Guatemala, Vietnam, Morocco, many, many other places, which is why we want to be respectful of everyone's culture. Let's try looking at it from a different perspective. Have you ever had dumplings from Asia? What about ravioli from Western Europe? Pierogi from Eastern Europe? When you really look at it, what's the difference? 3 different types of food from 3 different parts of the world are basically the same. The Vietnamese have a phrase, same, but different. Just consider that as we go along in this class. Outside of the classroom, it is very important to practice English as well, in the real world. But ask yourself, what happens when you try and practice English with somebody that speaks your same language? You start talking in English, but then somebody has a question about something. The other person has a question, there's a long break, and then suddenly you revert back to your original language. So what is the best way for us to practice English in the real world? Well, it's as simple as us going to a grocery store that's outside of our neighborhood. Chances are there are people there that don't speak your native language, in which case you will be forced to speak English with that person, and you will be forced to get better with the English language. So the most important thing to remember when learning a new language is to step outside your comfort zone. You will learn faster and quicker. While it is certainly scary, that is exactly why we are here learning this language now, so that we can practice. Now that we've gone through the guidelines, let's do a quick meet and greet. And now it's time for a game of 2 truths and a lie. The rules are simple. I will make 3 statements. 2 of them are true, 1 of them is a lie, but which one is the lie? Let's find out. 3 statements about me, but 1 is a lie. Which one? A, I lived in Vietnam for 7 years. B, I've gone swimming with sharks. Or C, I played basketball in college. Take about 5 seconds. The lie was actually playing basketball in college. I have not played any sports since I was a little kid. Vietnam? Oh yes, I lived there for 7 years, where I spent most of my time motorbiking, scuba diving, and traveling around to various places. And in fact, scuba diving is how I was able to swim with sharks. Although that was not in Vietnam, that was in the Philippines, and that was with some thresher sharks. So quite the trip. Great. We've gotten some of the first day stuff out of the way, but before we finish up, there's one last thing we need to do. Scan the QR code here or follow the link in the comments to quizzes.com, where you would take a very brief quiz on your goals in this class as well as a little bit about you. So until next time, see ya.